I'm Otis Day with 95.9 KISS FM. I'm inspired by people who choose positivity.
All right, and welcome to the Lantern Podcast, a show that is produced and promoted by students out of Good Cause Productions at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. I'm your host, Ryan Martin, and I have another outstanding guest for you today. He's a radio veteran who developed a love of radio as a kid because his mom didn't like TV, and then he landed himself a pretty sweet internship with a station right in high school down in Madison. He's been on the air pretty much ever since, but for a brief break to try something new. In 2023, he became the host of KISS FM Morning with Otis, Katie, and Nick. Please welcome Otis Day.
You know, it's a thing, and it's funny because I've not always been the most positive person, but I surround myself with people who choose positivity, and it is a choice. It's difficult sometimes, but you can choose negative, you can choose positive, and I when I see somebody who chooses positivity, especially in hard circumstances, that's pretty cool.
So let's unpack that a little bit. You said you're not always the most positive person. So it sounds like at some point you made a shift or you made a choice to try and think this way. When did that happen and what inspired it?
I think it's a slow roll. I think it happens over time. There's periods of doing it where you try and then maybe you fall a little bit back and you try. I think when it really kind of settled in after I had my daughter, Britton, she's 23. So I decided it was probably time to start taking care of some of my things. So I did a few things. I went and saw a doctor about my T1D and made sure I was getting that a little bit under control. Okay. And then I really thought it was probably time I look into what's going on in my head. And I was just angry and negative a lot about things that just didn't seem like I should be. And that's certainly not how I grew up to witness the world. And I was like, we got to figure out what this is. So I started seeing a therapist and did that for many, many years. She retired.
Okay.
And then I had to start all over with another therapist. And then she retired. And then I looked at her and I went, okay, is it me? Are you all retiring because of me?
Yes.
But in the course of that, I learned a lot about myself. And one of the things I learned is that choice to be positive, even if you're negative outwardly in a cynical, I'm very cynical and sometimes trying to be funny, but the choice to be positive is actually kind of easy. You just got to do it.
Right.
And it's not always easy depending on the time of your life and what's happening.
Of course.
But the everyday aspect, getting up, and I can be really annoyed that I'm tired and I got to go to work, or I can choose to make this the best day I can possibly make. Those choices are a little easier. And over time, everything just becomes a habit.
So how do you catch yourself in the moment? This is a question I get all the time. So I'm like, something happens to you, you gravitate negative maybe, and then you try and sort of catch yourself and think, nope, that's not how I want to look at this. Describe for people like how you've been able to maybe make that switch.
So I think of two people, truthfully. I think of, and it's funny, they say you marry your mother. My wife is not my mom, but she has a lot of aspects that remind me of my mom. So that's the first one I'm thinking of because I'm seeing her tonight. And that always just reminds me of mom. And my mom was but a very positive person in, times that maybe others would have a little struggle with that. She just chose to look at things with the best attitude she could. And I just try to kind of picture them. And a lot of it's subconscious. It's not like I sit there and go, well, what would Melinda think and what would my mom think? It's just more of over time you train yourself to kind of to recognize those moments. And I think that's kind of what helps.
Yeah. I may have even told the story once before on the show, but I was doing a job interview like 25 years ago at a school where they were under a ton of construction, and I was being interviewed by a nun who was the president of the school. Yeah. And I said something like, this pounding must really get to you, all this construction.
It's a lot.
And she looked at me and she said, it's the sound of progress.
Oh.
And I was like,
what a way to look at things.
Yeah, it was sort of a little bit of a wow moment. Felt a little shamey at the time, not gonna lie, but it was like an interesting reframe.
There's definitely different ways to look at things, and I think we get stuck sometimes in our own way of looking at things. It's a habit we form, and when it's subconsciously formed, you don't always know you're doing it. And I
Yep.
think when you make a bit more of a choice and you actually work at it, it becomes a little easier to switch that just a smidge.
Well, and what you said was really important too about like surrounding yourself with positive people. I
Yeah.
mean, because it's probably easier to form that habit, like any habit.
Yes.
You know, it's easier to not drink if you're surrounded by people who also don't drink. It's and it's easier to exercise if you're surrounded by people who like to exercise. And so, if you're surrounded by people who think positively, it probably shifts your perspective in the moment.
That's how I describe people love to talk about karma, and I don't necessarily believe in karma as some supernatural thing or whatever. I think karma is that. I think when you surround yourself with good people and you do good things and you make good decisions, you're more likely to have good things happen. That doesn't mean you won't go out today, have a flat tire, and somebody you love gets hurt in some sort of. I mean, bad things are gonna always happen. So are good things. I think we can just focus on some of the good and maybe not as much on the bad. Gets hard depending on what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you surround yourself with bad people and you do bad things and you make bad decisions. Guess what? Bad stuff might happen.
Yeah. So I want to back up even further because you mentioned your mom, and I know that she is maybe indirectly the reason you went into radio, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she didn't like TV is basically what it comes down to.
Well, no. So yeah, my mom was an anti-television person. So I'm, I grew up in the. I guess TV would have been important to my young life had I been allowed to watch it the way other kids did. At in the late 70s and early 80s. I mean, the 90s and
Of course, Friends.
So,
when you were a kid and Friends was on.
So she was definitely anti-TV, and she was pretty vocal about it. She was one of those, it'll rot your brain. It stifles your creativity, and it keeps you sitting inside when you could be outside. And so television was allowed, but it was allowed sparingly. And so I was allowed a few shows. Generally, these shows that maybe were a little more what she would consider fringe, were things I would watch with my dad. And I think that was more of a bonding thing. She recognized that dad was traveling a lot and doing his sales thing. So this was a time, maybe I'll let him watch The Incredible Hulk with his dad. Yes, I'll let him watch Bo and Luke Duke and the Dukes of Hazzard. And I even watched some shows with dad that were a little more adult themed. And when I say adult themed, I don't mean adult nature. I just mean things I probably didn't understand the Rockford Files that much.
Right.
But he watched it. And I liked it because he liked it.
Yeah.
And so the only show we were really allowed, other than when I was very young, obviously, with Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers was a big part of my life. Mr. Rogers was huge growing up, and I think it could really benefit today's youth if we made sure that Mr. Rogers was a big part of their life, or if we had another Mr. Rogers.
Right.
But the only show we were really all allowed to watch and that she would watch was Little House on the Prairie. And when that came on, she would start crying at the theme song. And I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
She was a happy crier. And so and she just loved that show. And yeah, I love that show too.
I have some sort of weird So I hope this isn't our first fight, but I have some sort of weird aversive reaction to that show because it would the opening credits, which apparently made your mom cry.
Well, I think it was the fact that she knew what was coming.
Oh, okay.
The story, and we're all gonna bond, and it's great.
It's when the little they're all like running down a hill
And then she falls.
and
then nobody does anything.
Yes.
They just let her fall.
Okay, and it's the youngest, right?
Yeah.
See, this is my problem, right?
I don't know, but we coddle a little too much these days. These days she would have been wrapped in bubble wrap. We'd be on the phone calling emergency services.
I think it's not just that they don't do it. This is triggering for me because I'm the youngest, right? And so watching her fall and then everybody like laugh uproariously and then ignore it, like part of me is like, oh yeah, that's a little too real.
That hits a little close to home.
Yeah, awesome. So okay, I love this story about your first radio job.
Yeah.
So talk me through it though. I'm talking about the internship in Madison in high school.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I wanted to do radio all growing up, which I think back then that was the YouTube influencer of the day, or the podcaster, or the video game person who plays video game. If you ask kids today, and I'm sure there's some other things I don't even know, but there's some things they want to do. Radio might not be top of their mind or even on their mind, but back in in the 70s and 80s, it was definitely I want to be an actor, I want to be a policeman, a fireman, sports star, and I would like to be a radio guy. Well, a lot of those things didn't seem like me, sports and all that. And actor sounded great, but radio sounded like something I could maybe do. I mean, I listen to those guys. They're in Madison. I hear them every night. They're live. They seem like they're talking to me. They're playing songs I like. So I went through the phases at 8 and 9 of recording the songs and all that. And then at 11 and 12, when I got a little older, I put records on and pretend I was the DJ, and I recorded commercials off Z104 in Madison so that when I went to the commercial break, I could play commercials. I had them recorded on a cassette.
Nice.
And I went through all that. But at about 16, I was working at a phone store at the Westgate Mall in Madison. It was one of those carpeted malls, a little slower paced, a lot of old folks walking. Leg weights were new back then, and they really liked them. And I'm working in this store where we sold and repaired cordless phones. Back before cell,
cordless phones.
And that was my job. And I'm listening to this guy on the air, Johnny Danger. He did the night show back then at Z104, and I don't know, I kept calling him to get a song played, and he wouldn't play it. Motley Crue, same old situation. Not a song that a top 40 station back then would have played, but I didn't know. Motley Crue, I like it. And he wouldn't play it. And after like the third call, and he kept airing them, and I didn't realize at the time he aired them because we were having good banter, but I didn't know that. I'm just like, I felt like he was picking on me. He goes, "Why don't you come up here and play it?" And I said, "I'm coming up. I'm literally like a block away. You're not far." I go, "I'll come." And he goes, "Come." And I said, "Okay, I'm coming." He goes, "Okay." So then I hang the phone up and I call my manager and I go, "Can I close the shop like 15 minutes early? There's nobody here." I drove up there, and that basically started my internship. He brought me in. I watched him do his show live for about an hour and a half. And this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. You get paid for this? Like, you are having a blast. I want to do this. And what he kept doing is he'd put me out in the hallway on a phone, and he'd go, "Call in and request a song." And I'd go, "What?" He goes, "I don't care." So I would go out and I would call in, and then we would just start talking, and he would end up playing it on the air. And I, again, didn't realize at the time it was because we were having good conversation.
Right.
And he ended up getting me a job. I was their costume character mascot in the parades. At 17, I'm going in this gorilla suit. We're going to bars. Like, this is the craziest thing. I'm like, what is happening? I'm in a bar? You can't be in a bar. And I'm dancing with people because I'm the gorilla. That's what I'm supposed to do. Doing parades, it was so much fun.
Nice.
Didn't get paid, but it was a blast.
So from that, though, I know it was you get all this great experience.
Yep.
And then
None of it on the air, though.
None of it on the air?
None of it was on the air. Nope. This was all just me kind of being a high school kid, going to their events, doing their stuff, and really having fun. And I decided in that year and a half I did it, I said, I think I want to do this. And my mom said, "Well, let's do it. Why don't you go to broadcasting school? I heard there's a great one in Minneapolis, Brown Institute," which no longer exists. Rest in peace. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure it's gone. I know the main campus is. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's do this. And so I get the job, or I get the schooling all paid for. We're all set to go. I'm about to move, and I meet the program director basically the last day. I never met him because it wasn't important for interns to meet the program director. And they're saying goodbye to me, basically, the 4 people I know there. And they introduced me to him. It's, "Tom, this is Otis. Otis is, going to broadcasting school tomorrow." "Why?" I said, "Well, I want to be on the radio. I've had so much fun here." He goes, "Well, I can get you a job tomorrow in Janesville." And I'm like, well, this information would have been nice about 4 months and $6,000 ago.
Yeah.
But anyways, I can't complain because I went off and ended up full circle. It's turned out really good for me. But
So you went to Janesville? You didn't?
I did go to Janesville. I went to broadcasting
You went to
school. I'd already
broadcasting
paid.
school. Okay, got it. Okay.
So I went to broadcasting school, went to Minneapolis,
Okay.
did about a year-ish of that. I was the last kid picked in my class to get a radio gig. So I thought, well, this isn't good. And I don't know. I don't know if any of them are doing radio anymore. I don't think so. Yeah. Well, it's kind of radio is in some Northeast Wisconsin different. In a lot of cities, it's hurting.
It's hurting.
It is here. It's a way different market for radio here than it is in most cities. I wouldn't say all, but most cities.
Okay.
So,
well, all right. So I want to come back to that in a second. Well,
Sure.
no, let's just talk about that now. Why? What makes us different?
I mean, well, what makes us different is that this market has stayed live and local for the majority of it. That doesn't mean none of them are ever recorded. There are, but I just mean the DJs are local. They're not piped in from Chicago.
Right.
They're here talking about things that are happening. They're embedded in the community. They're doing things at events that you go to. You can see them. You can meet them. They do nonprofit things. I'm sorry, not they, but I mean just all. But I mean the whole community.
Yep.
The whole community does a great job of it. No matter what company you're at, they just do a good job. And I think what the reason is because if one of them's doing it and the other ones aren't,
Right.
they're going to get their butts kicked. So everybody the competition has actually made, I think, everybody stay active and stay live and stay embedded in the community. And it really helps. And you see there's markets like this in the United States where you see this and you see radio really thriving.
Yeah, well, and I suspect, I mean, we think about this a lot with journalism, that the more local it is,
Yes.
the better it is.
I don't want to read the USA Today, and no
Yes,
offense.
yeah.
Our papers that I understand why we put USA Today articles in it, but I would also want to make sure that I read something from Kendra.
Yeah.
And I want to read something from, our local reporters.
Yep.
I want to make sure that I'm getting an angle that means something to us.
Right, exactly. And too often it feels like you get local sports and then you get national everything else.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, I get that. Okay, so first job I think is in Oklahoma. Or
Yeah,
no?
first radio job would have
That's
been
what
Lawton, Oklahoma. They
Okay.
were the ones to finally give me a call and say they wanted me to come down, and I literally packed everything up in a Chevy Celebrity station wagon, everything I
Nice.
owned, which wasn't much, and I rode down and had an apartment with full furnishings. It was a military town, which I didn't really understand that at the time, which is just way different. I mean, it's people are there, but they aren't really members of the town. But yet they're there spending money every day, and they have just maybe a different attitude, different way to do things that I just wasn't used to. It was really exciting for me to be in this city with the largest military base for the U.S. Army was there. There was a small mountain range that has, over the years of erosion is dwindled, but it used to be the biggest one in the United States. And it was just kind of a fun vibe. And it was about 100,000 people in this town. So I was a big fish, little pond for once I kind of got my feet wet, and
Right.
it was exciting.
What morning show?
No, I did. My first gig was the night show, so I think I was 6 to midnight actually.
Okay.
And they told me when I started that it was going to be me doing 6 to midnight, and if I worked out after the first month, I'd keep that job. If I didn't, they were going to put me midnight to 6, and they were going to give that midnight to 6 guy the night show. They had apparently considered him for the night show, and I thought, well, that's a weird thing to tell me, but it motivated me to try really hard.
Yeah, I bet.
I sucked, so I'm not sure why they gave me 6 to midnight, but they did.
So how? I would just tell you, as someone who used to work overnights, I really appreciated that midnight to 6 guy.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
it's
was
important.
I was thankful for them. This is an era before cell phones or anything. Like
Absolutely,
I just sort of sat there and listened to the radio. all
Need
night.
something to do,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So when you say you sucked, what made you bad?
Which I just didn't know what when
okay.
you don't know what you don't know, you don't even know that and suck probably isn't the right word. It just, I still had energy and I had excitement and I was still me, but I just didn't know all the things I know now. I think 10 years ago, I could have been better. Again, every time, when you do stuff, you learn more and more each day, and you learn more and more things that you could do better. Well, hopefully you do. If you don't, I'm not sure what you're doing, but you should be.
Yeah. So then what brought you to Green Bay?
So my mom so in the 80s, when I was still young, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she got through treatment and got me out of high school, got me on my way. Everything was great, and then she had a motorcycle accident. 1996, she rode motorcycle with my stepfather. She had an accident and her leg got all messed up, so they went in to kind of scan and check for internal bleeding and everything, and they found the cancer had come back.
Oh, no.
So I decided maybe it was time I moved closer, just because, now I was 23, and I'm like, I should probably be closer see what happens here. So I sent tapes all over Wisconsin, and I got those tapes from a guy who had worked at the station in Madison that I interned at, that I happened to get his contact through my mass media teacher from high school. She said, I think you should talk to Jonathan Little. Jonathan Little in Madison, he knows people. He can probably find you somebody that could give you a job. So I did. I talked to Jonathan Little, gave me all these names.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody called me back except one guy.
Oh, okay. Good.
One guy, Dan Stone. Dan Stone called me back. Hey, Dan Stone calling from Green Bay, Wisconsin. I wanted to see if you wanted to talk about an overnight shift we have here. So I came in. I happened to be coming to town for a wedding. And I said, hey, I'm going to be there in like 3 weeks. And he goes, perfect. So I went and I met him in the old BAY building downtown, and they offered me overnights. And at that time, I couldn't do it. The money it just wasn't going to work for me. I didn't see how I could have made that work.
Right.
I think had I known what I know now, I would have just done it and figured it out. But at the time, it seemed like there's no way this will work.
Right.
So he goes, well, we don't have jobs open up here very often. So, but we'll keep your name on file. And I thought, well, I'll never hear from him again. That'll be it.
Yeah.
And 3 months later, Ben LeMay decided he was going to stop doing the night show on 101. And Dan called me up and said, hey, I got an opening here. You're not going to get it, though. You got to reapply because it's a different kind of shift. I need you to show me what you got. So I spent the next month and a half making cassettes of what I would sound like if I did a top 40 radio show, because I was on a rock station at the time.
Right.
I made cassettes every single day, and I would send them to Dan. And I just bombarded him with cassettes. And I think eventually he hired me so I would stop mailing him stuff.
Outstanding.
I really do think that might be part of why I got the job.
Yeah, the tenacity pays off.
That's right, yeah.
Excellent. All right. So you took a break from radio for a few years, right? So what, I guess, if it's okay, like I'm curious, what inspired the break, and then what inspired you to want to come back?
I mean, I wasn't happy.
Okay.
So it's just, it doesn't really matter why. I mean, I know that people always want to know why, but it doesn't really matter because at this point it's been 3 or 4 years. So the reason I wasn't happy might not even be accurate anymore.
Right.
And a lot of it could have been on me. I mean, I don't know. I'm not naive. I know that there's lots of things going on when you're unhappy, and some of it can be you. So, but I wasn't happy, and I didn't feel valued, and I just didn't like it. I just didn't like going in. And it had been like that for a long time, to the point where when I actually announced that I was leaving to my direct boss, he knew exactly as soon as I said, I'm going to actually put my 2 weeks in today. And he goes, are you going to sell cars? And I went, I am. And I realized I had probably talked about this too much. Maybe I'd been too vocal about what I didn't like. And so anyways, I left and I went and went into the car dealership. And that was a really great experience for me to just do something different.
Right.
And try something new and feel really challenged. I hadn't felt challenged in a while because you do something for 24 years and it just feels like you just do it. Like, I know how to do it. I got it. And then to get out here and have to do this completely different thing that you've never done before in your life was scary and really fun. Like, I really planned on doing that the rest of my life. So.
Right. So then what brought you back?
KISS ended up needing something and asked if I had an interest. I initially said no. We kept, I've known those guys over there for years. It's a pretty tight-knit community here. So then they really did need some help at some point because whatever happened, the morning show was done. And I said, oh, well, okay, now you actually do need someone. It would be dumb not to take a meeting. So I took a meeting, and Joe and Eddie and the whole crew over there they put a very nice presentation together, and at least got me intrigued. And then it started to sound great about, wow, I could be done at noon, 12:30 every day. Really?
Right.
Wow. Okay. Wait, I'll have Saturdays off too? Oh, all right. So I think I convinced myself with a little help from them that maybe, and let's be honest, this is my first love. This is the thing I really like. So I said, I think I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, so I've gotten to see you work.
Yeah.
And there's two things that really struck me about it when I was there. One is the technical skills that are required to do what you do are things that I think you kind of have to see to understand. And when I would watch you like multitasking, when I would watch you sort of search through files to come up with like a good thing we could talk about in between, it was really, really interesting, and really it really revealed that there's way more to it than just having a conversation on the radio, that you're doing an awful lot back there.
Nick says takes a lot of work to seem like we're not working.
Yeah.
And he's 100% correct. It's a lot of work to seem like it's just very natural. Well, it is natural. That's the thing. The actual conversation, and you can attest to this. There's nothing written out, but knowing what you're going to do and talk about, and in your brain, you got to figure out what what do you think about this, and can you share that?
Right.
Well, that's another thing these days.
Yeah.
Can you even share this? Can you talk about this? What's that going to do? And so it's more than you would know, and you don't always see it all. I'm glad you saw a little bit of it, but yeah, it's a lot of work to look like you don't work. So
yeah, no, it was really intriguing to me. I'm always fascinated by the way people do their jobs, you know, like, and what is required of them that maybe you don't see when you're sitting at home or listening at home. And
well, and this looks like we're just sitting down having a conversation, but you were telling me on the way to the studio things, you've watched some videos, you did this, you kind of dug into some things. It's not like you just wander in and go, okay, let's go.
Right. I mean, I do for other guests, but for you, I broke out my A game.
Wow.
So yeah. So no, you're right. I mean, there's other pieces to it. Here's the other thing too. And it seems like you are, and I hear this on the radio, but I saw then too, you're having fun.
Yes.
It seems very, very obvious that you're having a good time.
Yes. I sometimes feel a little guilty that we get paid. You know what I mean? It's just one of those, it's like, are you allowed to have this much fun at work? But then I remember you are.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, the thing I learned working at Gandrud is I had a blast at Gandrud. You have fun when you're around the people, the things, and your attitudes, right? So the things you like, the people that you like, or people that you do like at least, or people you can get along with.
Right.
And when your attitude is good enough, I guess, you can really have fun at anything you do. So I used to have fun at a gas station I worked at back in the mid 90s. I think you can have fun at a lot of things.
Right.
But some of that's a choice.
And that came through too. I mean, you had, I remember you had your supervisor from Gandrud on the show as like a guest host with you or a co-host with you.
Yeah.
Right. And you could tell that there was this like genuine appreciation and joy there.
We just got back from Disney together. We go every year with him and his wife. We go to Disney. That was kind of my hardest part about leaving Gandrud is I don't want to leave the crew here. I actually really like this.
Right.
I know that seems weird that I actually like it, but I do. It's fun. They're good people, and it was good. So that was kind of my thing in my head is I'm going to make sure I see these people. I'm going to make sure that and I do. I just had lunch yesterday at Gandrud. And,
all right.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, and I saw the pictures from Disney. Looked like you had a great time.
Great time. How can you not?
Yeah.
No kids at Disney? That's the best.
What was your favorite ride?
So it's hard to pick the one. I've got two.
Okay.
So Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot is just a crazy fun roller coaster.
That wasn't there when I was there last, so that's good to know.
It's worth booking it just to do that.
Really? Yeah. Okay, that's good to know.
And then Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom. It's a park I don't normally go to, but we got Park Hopper just so I could do Flight of Passage. That's an Avatar thing.
Yeah, I don't think. Oh.
Avatar doesn't interest me at all.
Yep.
The movie, I walked out.
Yeah.
And I was on an airplane. It was terrible. It's a Joan Rivers line.
That's good.
So... but that ride is insane. I hate to say a word like this because it sounds ridiculous, but it was the first time I rode it. It was life changing. I'm like,
oh my God, I've heard this.
I can't believe I did that. Yeah. That just happened.
Yep. I
just flew through the air on the back of an animal. And I got sprayed in the face with water, and I was in a forest with leaves, and then we shot, and I'm like, this all happened. It doesn't feel like it's kind of happening. Yeah. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I was listening to a podcast once, and the guy was talking about that ride, which was the line was like 3 hours long when I was there.
First time I did it, it was.
Yeah. And he said he described it as life changing. He said it was like he came out a changed person.
So I went every morning. I got up before the rest of our crew, and at 7:30 I got on the bus to get to Animal Kingdom. Or no, it's 7, and then I got there at 7:30, and we had an early entry. I walked directly to that ride. You walk through the line, takes about 30 minutes to get through the line just because of how long it is. And then I rode the ride, and then I went back to Epcot, did Guardians, and then I met everybody for breakfast.
Nice.
That was what I did every day.
Excellent.
It was great. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Very good. All right. Are you ready for our 3 questions? We end every episode with 3 questions.
3 questions. All right. Is this like the inside the actor's studio? What's your favorite sound? What's your favorite word? Things like that.
Sure.
No. I don't have that either. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, who do you hope you're inspiring?
Who do you hope you're inspiring?
Yeah.
I guess people that are not having a great time right now. Like if you're not happy with whatever it is, you can change it.
Okay.
Can I look at you can change it. Like my mom taught me that when I think I was 12 or 11 or 10, there was a divorce and then there was another big change where she said, I'm going to quit my job. And I'm like, you're going to quit your job? What are you doing? And she goes, I don't like it. I don't like what I'm doing. I got to go in every day. You spend a third of your life doing this thing. She says, I don't like it, so I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to go be a travel agent. And I'm like, but you don't know how to do that. She goes, I'm going to go learn. She goes, I want to do something fun. I like travel. And I would just say, whatever it is, if it's a relationship that you're in that you don't like, that doesn't mean you have to leave, but you can fix that. Obviously, it takes more than just you to fix it.
Right.
But if it's a job you don't like, if it's a career in school, if it's that you don't like, how you look, how heavy you are. I mean, there's things you can do to make yourself happier. And sometimes it just takes literally making yourself happy to change your life. And I don't think we spend enough time on ourselves. So I hope I inspire somebody that is sitting there right now and something they don't like about their life. I would inspire you to do something about it. Like that first step is the hardest part.
Right.
But sitting there just talking to yourself about it, you don't like it, and kicking yourself and I did that for years and years and years and years, and you can change it.
Excellent. All right. Number 2, book, movie, song, something that really inspires you. Piece of art.
Yeah, I think just music that can make you feel, and that can be different for everybody. So I don't want to tell you, I mean, I can tell you what inspires me, but I just want to say, I think music that makes me feel is what inspires me. And a lot of times it's happy. I love music that makes me happy. But music that can make me sad and music that can make me emotional, I really like it. A lot of times that's just attached to a memory. It doesn't even have to be the song. It's a line from, there's a weird Paul Schaefer song he did with Will Smith years ago. Can't believe I mentioned Paul Schaefer twice, but whatever.
He's going to be on the show next week. So,
good.
Yeah,
Are you gonna have Letterman or just Paul?
Just Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul Schaefer had a song called, I don't know, maybe it was called Radio or something, but in it, Will Smith is rapping, and he says a line that just has always stuck with me. Every special event, he doesn't rappy, but every special event has a particular tune. That's the way that I remember everything that I do. And I don't know why that's always stuck with me, but there's a lot of feeling, there's a lot of emotion for me that can be attached to songs, time periods. So when I hear a song, if I hear Pied Piper, that takes me back to my dad. That makes me feel. If I hear anything Bruce Springsteen, reminds me of my aunt. Neil Diamond, I can start bawling at the drop of a hat with Neil Diamond from my mom, or I can feel really happy. It just depends on the day. I can listen to Eminem rap and I can get so goosebumpy off listening to him do things that I just don't know how are humanly possible. I'm not even that big of an Eminem fan. It doesn't matter. If when I hear stuff like really good music, I just get all, wow.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Last thing. What's a piece of advice that you would have for people who are listening right now? You've already given some, but one more piece of advice.
I mean, do it. Do the change, make the change, do the thing that you're we talk about the inner voice a lot. And the inner voice is sometimes too inner. We just squash it down. We squish it and we don't want to hear it and we don't want to listen to it. And we ask advice for all these people and we go on forums and we go on Facebook and we ask people for suggestions, and you've got this thing inside of you telling you what it wants. It's you. You're telling you what you want, but it's hard sometimes. And it could be things even like sometimes people know something's wrong and they should go to a doctor, but they don't want to do anything. Go to the doctor. Or they know they're in a bad situation and they should get out. Do it. Or they know something's really great and they should do it. Like, I know I should do this. I should do this. But you just talk yourself out of anything that sounds hard.
Right.
And I say, do it or try or at least explore it. Stop. You don't want to kick yourself later.
Right.
At whatever, 70 years old, where you go, God, I wish I would have done this.
Right. All right. This has been fantastic, Otis. Thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you if they want to know more?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can find me every morning on 95.9 KISS FM with Katie and Nick.
Yep.
We're having fun doing a morning show. You can find me. I'm on Facebook. And at this point, just you can click follow because I think I hit whatever Facebook's ridiculous Rule is about people, but click follow. I'm open. I would love to have a discussion. I'm on all the other things. I'm on the Instagrams and Snapchats. And Snapchat's where you probably see a little bit more about the daily life because I just post stories when I go places. I film it, post it up, and
excellent.
and so that's where I am. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm at 1216 Dolphin Lane. No,
You're going to dock
garage code is 386.
Well, you mentioned Katie and Nick. I want to have them both on the show at some point as well. So
yeah, they're going to be really offended that I came first. No, they're not. They actually don't. They feel
very good.
They were kind of excited. They were like, "Oh, that sounds fun."
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. No, I love the show. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing it. That was the 6 months where we had to have people fill in. Was a little stressful for me. I didn't assume we'd actually be able to fill 6 months. I assumed I'd get a couple of weeks down and then I'd be going solo. And the fact that people like you stepped up and literally said, "Yes, I will drive far away for no money whatsoever." At an ungodly early hour and talk about things I don't know are coming with a guy I barely know, I will do that.
I was still waiting to get paid. So you're saying I'm not getting paid.
That is, I will definitely reach out to Joe Marai. I'll text him.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Because, I've been waiting for that check. I just assumed it was slow coming.
Me too.
Thanks so much for being
here. Absolutely.
This is great.
You.
All right. So as I mentioned during the intro, this show is produced and promoted by students. And today we're here with Kennedy Punky. Kennedy, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here. I'm a senior here at UW Green Bay. I'm a communication major. I actually have a triple emphasis in public relations, mass media, and social media. And I also have a marketing minor. So booked and busy, but having fun doing it.
That is a lot of stuff. And then what do you do for the show?
For the show, I am an engineer here. So I make sure the cameras are all set up, make sure we can hear everyone properly, and then we do some editing. So just trying to make you guys look nice on camera.
And you do a fantastic job of it. Thank you very, very much. So a couple things that I want to shout out quick.
Yeah.
One, I want to mention people can follow us at UWGB Cause, that's CAHSS on social media. So along with the Patreon, if you want to learn more about the show, you can do that. Mm-hmm. You also get some behind the scenes there of your fantastic work here in the studio. Yeah. You can also follow me. That's at Anger Professor. And you will you'll get some behind the scenes. You'll also get a sense for what's coming up because I post a lot of clips of upcoming episodes. So
yeah, for sure, lots of funny behind the scenes stuff on there too.
Yeah.
But I also have to ask. First thing I noticed today was your shirt says "Looking for a Cult." Very interesting, and I actually want to know more about that. Yeah, why that choice today? Yeah.
Yeah. So one of our last guests, Mary Gallagher, an alum here, so she was on the show. So she told me, she said, "Hey, I brought a shirt for you. Do you want it?" And I said, "Of course." I admit, I thought it was going to be like a shirt that had her name on it or something like that.
Sure.
And so I said, yeah. She gave me a shirt. When she took it out, all it says is "Looking for a Cult." So, which is great. I mean,
sure.
I guess in this instance, I'm looking for a cult. But out of context, it doesn't mean very much.
Sure.
So I'm glad I'm explaining it. But thank you, Mary, for the awesome shirt.
Yeah, and thank you for the explanation. Appreciate it.
Yeah, necessary. All right. So Kennedy, thank you for everything you do. Thanks for being on the show today. Why don't you take us home?
The Lantern is brought to you by Good Cause Productions at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. The executive producer is Ryan Martin, and the production manager is Rachel Sankey. The engineer for today's episode is Kennedy Punky, with support from LiveX. The music you loved so much was arranged by our very own Michelle McQuaid Dewhurst. Special thanks also to our guest, Otis Day. If you haven't already, please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Keep being amazing.